Hello, hello, and welcome to the Mind of a Cheater podcast. I am Coach Michael, and I have a fun fact for you. In case you didn't know, my fiance is actually the one who does my editing. And with that being said, babe, cue the intro music. All right. I'm looking forward to this episode because it is episode 3, and this is the top 10 most asked questions about infidelity, cheating, affair recovery, rebuilding the trust, what have you. Now, here is the perspective that you get from me that you really don't get anywhere else. So, what makes my perspective that I'm going to give you unique is that I was a serial cheater for a very long time, and I was cheated on multiple times, and I was around a lot of cheating, and I've worked with a lot of cheaters. I've worked with countless unfaithfuls, countless couples all over the world, and even just had conversations, just had been in the mix with so many people discussing their situations of infidelity. I've heard it all, I've seen it all, right? And I'm sure there's more that I can hear and see. But with that being said, all of these answers that I'm going to give you are just straight, direct, raw, unfiltered. It is what it is. But it is what of you make it, and I'm just going to begin. So if you are ready, I'm ready. Let's get right into it. The very first question: if I loved my partner, how could I still cheat? Because you do not even know what love is, all right? Or you did not know what love was or is, or perhaps we need to redefine what love is. See, you had a mistaken identity for what love was, or what you thought it was, or the identity that you had for your partner because of how you felt about him. You thought you loved him because of the commitment you had in your mind to never leaving them, and how much you cared about them, and the things you were willing to do for them. That all convinced you that you love them, which in fact that is true. But the missing part of the element was that love is also how you treat someone, and so you did not factor that into the equation. Now that is very that well somewhat surface level, but let's go ahead and peel another layer behind that. So for whatever reason you justified it in your mind. This is what's called the justification. You found a reason that made sense to you as to where you can move forward with your actions. You convinced yourself of how you could do things, and perhaps it was resentment that you had towards your spouse, until so you told yourself, hey, well, they don't listen to me anyway, or they don't care about my problems anyway, or they don't want to spend time with me anyway, and so, well, this other person does. And you know what? Well, I wouldn't have to if they would just, spend more time with me. And I already tried. I talked to them. I told them. But they still continue on like that. Well, so what else am I going to do? And so then you convinced yourself to do something out of your character. And though in your mind, you're like, I love them, but again, you went back to why I love them is because of not how I treat them, but because of all of these other things. So you focused on all of these other things that canceled out what you were doing. Next question: was the affair partner special, or was it just an escape? They were a special escape. Yes, your affair partner was special to you in that moment, but that was only conditional. You see, they were special to you because they made you feel special about you. They were your special escape. They were the thing that brought you so much joy and happiness. And yes, I mean thing, because they were just a product. They were just a vessel of whatever they brought you. And so you see, when you think of them as, or even the betrayed too, thinking of this person as special, yes, they were special, but only conditional. Because think about it like this: if that person stopped giving you the special feelings, the special attention, then all of a sudden you would no longer feel special. And all of a sudden that special feeling you had for that person magically disappears. You see? Let's move on to question number 3. Why didn't I just leave instead of cheating? That is because you were afraid perhaps of the loneliness. You did not want to face the loneliness that came along and the discomfort that came along with you saying, marching right up to your partner and telling them what was going on. But that is a habit of yours because you continue to avoid those tough conversations. And that's why you got yourself into this position in the first place. You avoid avoided your own feelings. You avoided the conversations with your spouse. You did a great job of avoiding a whole lot. And so you continued to move forward with your affair, but you wanted to keep what you had because that kept you secure. And it kept you secure because deep down underneath everything, you knew of all of the stuff you were avoiding. And so you kept on to this other person for some kind of companionship, support, or security. Okay. And as well as your spouse as well. Okay, so in that moment, let's take that into consideration as well. And so you were also wanting to convincing yourself that you could, in fact, leave your spouse, and you even convinced yourself that you could even have a life or a relationship with this other person. You may have even fantasized about it. In the mix of all of those things, you were convincing yourself of, because you had to go that far again in your mind to rationalize with it all in order for you to cheat and continue to keep cheating. Here's another one. Number 4, do cheaters actually feel guilt or only shame after getting caught? And so, yes, they actually do feel guilt while they are cheating. And afterwards as well. And it's the big question is, are they only guilty for getting caught, or are they actually truly remorseful for what they've done? And so what a cheater will do is continue to use this other person, their affair partner, the person they're cheating with, as the avenue of escape, or whatever it was that they were getting from them. And they will feel the guilt, but convince themselves again that what they are doing is okay, because the pleasure, the companionship, the validation, the attention, everything that they were getting from their affair partner, the feeling of all of that was greater than all of the guilt. And so since cheaters are very good at avoiding and compartmentalizing, they were able to go ahead and stuff that down for the time being. All of that guilt and shame, they're able to just compartmentalize that in some way, as well as their identity in going and stepping away and saying, hey, this is me right now. This is me doing my own thing. This is me just taking out stress. I just need this time right here. This doesn't have anything to do with anyone else. Right? And so again, more convincing of your own lies, because again, remember, when you are a cheater, not only are you good at lying to others, but you are also good at lying to yourself. Question number 5, if I stop cheating, why isn't that enough to rebuild trust? That is because, especially when you do not know why you cheated. Okay, you don't even know why you did what you did, so how can you stop yourself from cheating again in the first place? Now, a cheater may be thinking, and I'm not saying you're thinking, right? But you may be thinking, well, I know that I can just stop myself, and now that I've been through that already, I know the consequences and how badly I've hurt everyone and all this other stuff, and okay, and yes, I believe you, and you believe yourself as well, but here's the thing, you believe yourself until you become hopeless. And you're committed until you're no longer committed anymore, or you are, sure until you have that reason, until you get stuck in that old thought form, that old thought pattern, that identity again of I'm not good enough, or no matter what I do, or whatever it is, that same story will continue to appear again and again and again. And that is just for you on your own, because I was in your shoes. If you cheated multiple times, or you are a serial cheater in recovery, I've been in your shoes, and I know what that's like to say, I will never cheat again, and you still continue to go on. But in that moment, you are very serious about your commitment to being loyal and honest. But again, when in those moments of desperation, vulnerability, fear, anger, sadness, hopelessness, defeatism, whatever it is, then everything goes out the window. And so it is a retraining process, and it takes more than just will, because you tried to use your will before, perhaps, when the occasion was there in the first place and you weren't able to. Okay. And so right now, on your end, you're trying to trust yourself, and you do, to be fair, you are trusting yourself, but your spouse cannot trust you enough with, I know I won't do it again, because to them, that's just more empty promises. And you may have said things along the line to them before that are similar. And right now, they cannot believe anything that you say. They can only just watch what you do and draw their own interpretations or conclusions as a result of it. And so the only actual true way to rebuild trust, I mean, this has to be a part of the equation, is when the unfaithful discovers their identity, discovers their true core issues of cheating, and begins fixing them, and begins dedicating themselves to fixing those issues. They have that true, genuine desire for change because, going back to how to know if a spouse is truly remorseful, well, they will actually, it's actually important to them to change. You will actually see them put it as a priority of what to do in order to change, to make sure that I am no longer this person who continues to do these things to harm my spouse. Question number 6, why do I get defensive when my partner is triggered? That is because, yeah, you want to think of the guilt and shame, but it is embarrassment, right? You were embarrassed, especially when you were caught. That's why you continue to, that's what we do. We feel embarrassed. We're afraid. We don't want to lose what we're losing. So we continue to lie. And in that moment, it's the same thing. I mean, it's a combination of things. One of it is you get into that moment of panic and you do not want to lose what you have. And also another thing is you may be frustrated in that moment too, because you may be doing everything right. You may be not cheating anymore. You may be telling them the truth. You may be showing them everything right. But you become frustrated because you put yourself in this situation. That's part of it. So part of it is you are frustrated with yourself. And another thing is you become frustrated because what's more frustrating than you being completely honest and you doing everything right and you're being loyal and all that, and you're still you're still accused of cheating, or your partner is still questioning you. But again, that feeling, that frustration goes back to that old thought form. That's the reason why. It's that old thought form of, it doesn't matter what I do, I'm never enough, or they're never satisfied, or I can never win, or whatever it is, whatever your story is that goes through your mind, that is why you continue to become defensive. There is a specific thought form that continues to go through your mind every single time your spouse does or says something. When you become frustrated, it's not just like, I'm frustrated, or I'm just like, no, just whatever, like really dig deep when you become frustrated, or what thoughts go through your mind. Is it, why do they always do this? Is it, they're only doing this because they're trying to punish me? Or what's the point in doing all of this? They don't believe it anyways, right? That redirects you back to that stage of hopelessness, will then lead you to that stage of justification to, well, I guess I might as well, or whatever that story is. Question number 7, did the affair mean more to me than my marriage? At that time, it did. And at the same time, it didn't, right? But you thought if you could hide it enough that you could, keep both, obviously, right? But what meant the most to you is that you no longer felt the way that you felt, and that you had a glimmer of hope that your life, when you were no longer going to continue to feel the way that you were. You convinced yourself that things weren't going to change, and this is just how things were, and this is my own little temporary fix to escape things, and I'm going to only do this until things get better, until I find a better solution. But the thing is, you didn't find a better solution, because you deep down wanted to find a better solution in your marriage, but then you became hopeless and convinced yourself that you couldn't do it, or whatever that barrier was, until you finally gave up. Because if you think about when someone is unfaithful, break apart that word unfaithful, meaning no faith, unfaithful meaning no faith, meaning somebody along the lines lost their faith within themselves and in their life and in their marriage. And so at that time, it did and it didn't. However you want to look at it, potato, pajamas. But the affair, that whatever you want to call it, was very important to you at that time. And it's not easy to say. We don't want to say that, right? But we're not here to downplay anything. We're here to take full ownership of it so we can empower ourselves, not disempower ourselves. Okay? And so remembering right now what the most important thing is, what you are doing now and who you are becoming, the actions of the past, okay? Because remember, the past is important, but the most important part of the past is who you become as a result of it, and what your marriage and relationship becomes as a result of it. Let's move on to question number 8. Can someone really change after cheating, or will it happen again? Yes, of course, someone can change after cheating, but that requires a certain amount of desire to change. That is the most important part of the equation, is somebody has to have a desire to change on all costs, on all whatever it takes. And yes, this is a thing about how to know if a person is, if you really want it. And this is how you know you really want it, and how to know a person really wants it, is they will face the discomfort. Knowing that it is uncomfortable, they will voluntarily face it. They will continue to do things outside of their comfort zone to change, to get that results. It is on their mind. It is in their daily routine. You will see them doing, talking, feeling, changing. It is an evolution, a strengthening, a growth, a process, butterfly getting its wings, whatever you want to call it. But you will see those changes firsthand, because when you truly know someone, you know them. And yes, when someone cheats on you, you feel like you do not know them, but it is in a re-knowing process. It is in a relearning process, because the person is becoming different. They are changing right there before your eyes, and it is in you witnessing it right before your eyes and telling if it's true, genuine nature, because you will be able to feel it and notice it over time, and it's constant, continual growth. Because here's the mindset that a lot of cheaters get that causes them to fail, is they think I only have to do the work for a certain amount of time until I get the trust back, until things are fixed, and then I can stop. But the number one way to tell if a cheater is truly serious about change is they will continue to have the desire for change, and they will continue to do the work in order to get those results for the change. Number 9, why do I miss the affair partner even though I want my relationship? Remember, your affair partner was a vessel, and you were using them to get feelings. You were using them to get not the feelings that you had at the moment, and you were using them to get the feelings that you did want in the moment. And so what they were, and it's like this is a comparison. Instead of cooking your food, you had your food cooked for you, and then you got used to it. And now that the food is no longer being cooked for you, you have to learn to cook it on your own, and it is a process. But here's the thing, is that when you were getting that food on your own, it was free. It was free, and it was quick, and it was easy, and you didn't have to do anything for it. And so now there is a certain process of what to do in order to begin feeling your happiness again. And because it's not the affair partner you miss, it's what they gave you that you miss. It's you miss feeling how you felt when you were with them, when you were having an affair with them. Your brain automatically goes to all of those good feelings, and it is quite the opposite of what you may be feeling now, because what you may be feeling now does not feel good. And remember, what we did was jump on a quick ship that quickly got you to where you wanted to get to. And the ship, the vessel, was your affair partner. And now that that ship is gone, you are stuck in the water, no longer having that free, easy ride for you, and having to learn how to, I guess, cook in the kitchen all over again. I know that was a lot of here and there analogy, or whatever you want to call it, but I hope that one helps, which does lead us to our last question of the day. Can we get a little drum roll going on or something like that? All right, good. And so number 10, what actually determines whether a relationship survives infidelity? It is both of you continuing to become, continuing to be, continuing to evolve, continuing to adapt, continuing to find ways to become better, to become more joyful, to become more peaceful, to become more happy, not putting yourself in a pressure state thinking, well, I have to change and I have to do this, I have to do that. No, here's the thing. You get to a point of healing, of recovering, of changing, of progressing, as to where the work feels good. Yes, the work can be fun. And I'm telling you that because I experienced that, and I experience other people who experience that as well. And yes, there are moments of discomfort that you must push through in order to get to that joy, that fun, that betterment, that like, yeah, but here's what it is is that patterns and cycles will continue to show up in your life. And each and every time they do, if we do not begin to better understand and become more aware of if and when those situations occur and what we do and begin to adapt and shift each and every time. If we do not do that, we will continue to stay stuck in the same cycles and patterns, and the same keeps showing up. And what that's going to lead to is we are never going to rebuild the trust. See, we are still struggling with this. I've seen people, talk to people, read messages, seen comments of people who are struggling with infidelity 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, and still have not trusted or rebuilt the trust. And, you know, here's what it is. It is your happiness. It is your peace, love, and happiness to obtain. It is your joy to grasp. Anything you've ever wanted, it is for you to go out and get. And when it comes to infidelity recovery, you have to go out and get it. It is not something we can be casual about. It is something we really have to be proactive about, which is a lot of what I teach and what I coach in my systems and programs is action. Okay, so that's what it is. Action gets the satisfaction. And so that's it for the podcast episode. I hope you take this information and use it as persuasion and inspiration for change as you get everything you've ever wanted in life. It is not in what you do, it is in who you become. And remember, once again, the past is very important, but the most important part of the past is who you become as a result of it. So until then, I'll see you soon, and all the best on your becoming.